on. Rishi Sunak, he has, of course, apologised for leaving D-Day commemorations in Normandy early to head back to the UK and return to the general election campaign.
Well, he left a gathering of world leaders on Omaha Beach for a TV interview. Writing on X, he said that the anniversary should be about those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. The last thing I want is for the commemorations to be overshadowed by politics. He
continued, after the conclusion of the British event in Normandy, I returned back to the UK. On reflection, it was a mistake not to stay in France longer, and I apologise for that. So, is Labour right in saying this is a, quote, embarrassing dereliction of duty?
Well, joining us now is Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Crawford. He's a former British Army officer. Yeah, I mean, are Labour right? Is it a dereliction of duty for him to leave when he did?
Well, I think I'd have to agree with the Labour comment on that he should have stayed with the other world leaders for that subsequent part of the commemorations. And I think the fact that he chose to fly back to the UK to take part in a pre-recorded interview, which won't go out until next week, about tax, about money, shows you exactly where he's coming from. He's not a great political, he's not a people person, he's a money man, and that took precedent.
OK.
Can I just bring this in, because somebody did point out on in the messages, Nigel Farage savaged France after D-Day paratroopers are forced to show passports. What was that about? We had the paratroopers coming down and then they had to show their passports and almost check in because we're not in the EU. Did that not sort of irk you, seeing that?
Well, I mean, that's bureaucracy run wild, really, and lots of jobs worth, using what little power they have in their positions to impose it on others in completely inappropriate circumstances.
But wouldn't they show passports anyway? I mean, why would soldiers be, exempt from showing passports? We always showed passports when you travelled to France before Brexit, and you've had a lot of Remainers in recent days.
But at this event, though, it's like an event. Why would they?
Because they parachuted in from England.
Yeah, but you would have thought that they could have any paperwork could have been done beforehand, and they wouldn't have to do that. Literally, there they got out little iPads and everything. I'm sorry, that was.
I get your point. It's probably a bunch of jobs worth, but the Remainers were seizing on that to try and say, look, this is what Brexit's done. Well, in actual fact, we showed passports before Brexit, so it didn't quite make sense.
Well, they should have done it before then.
If I may ask you, one of our viewers, Jason, he said, what's the problem with what Rishi Sunak did? He flew over there, met with world leaders, paid his respects and made a speech. The way everyone's going on as if he never went and totally snubbed it is wrong.
Well, I just disagree fundamentally with that. He should have remained there while the other world leaders were there on Omaha Beach. And if I'd been one of the old boys out there in Normandy, having made the journey, probably for the last time, I'd be thinking, well, where the hell's the Prime Minister? It's not as if he's a naughty schoolboy frightened of missing the last bus home and having to ask his mum to come and pick him up. He's the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And when he was out there, he should have read the room and changed his schedule, which he has every power to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. OK, Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Crawford, former British Army officer, thank you for joining us this morning. Listening to that was former Labour MP Siôn Simon, who joins us now. Good morning, Siôn. The Prime Minister has apologised this morning. Does that cut it? Is that enough? Can we just move on?
It's a tactic. That's the people who work for him, who advised him badly in the first place, saying, look, there's nothing. This is a terrible thing that's happened. We made a mistake. You can't argue about it. You can't justify it. All you can do is apologise. Hope that makes people think good things about your character instead of the bad things about your character that they're thinking because you left these events early. And hope they will have said to him, let's hope that this just kills the story fairly quickly and we can just move on. It's just a tactic. It doesn't tell you anything about Rishi Sunak. The actual event tells you a lot about Rishi Sunak, which is all about the arrogance of the man. That's it's as others viewers have said, like, he went, it's not as though he didn't go, but he left early because he thought he was so important. It's all about Rishi Sunak all the time. The rules that apply to other people don't apply to Rishi Sunak. He's notorious for it, always leaves early.